going in, we all gonna have our favorites and the way we think, but we never know until we see. Because like you say, if Canelo come out that thing hungry, it's tough.
Terence Crawford is too good for it to not be competitive for as long as it lasts, right? I just think Canelo is gonna knock him out. I think he's gonna stop.
The hype around this fight is Canelo's fading because he's getting decisions while he's basically dropping everyone he fights. So I don't see where you're fading at, but Floyd got praised for getting decisions.
Many boxing experts believe the clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford could finish in dramatic fashion. Roy Jones Jr., while talking with Andre Ward, called it a real 50-50 fight because both men are special in their own ways. Still, Jones admitted he slightly favors Canelo, saying everyone always has someone they lean toward. He added that if Canelo fights with the same hunger he showed earlier in his career, Crawford will have a very tough night ahead. Asterisk.
Hear about it, Dre. I like a lot of things about the fight. I like that Bud took his time when it beefed up early because he knew it was coming. So when you got time to get ready and get right, that's a big thing. You can't take nothing away from Canelo. Canelo has been there for a while. Great puncher, great boxer puncher. If Bud can take the punch, which we're pretty sure he can do, we'll have a good fight on our hands. I think there are several ways for Bud to win it, but one way for Canelo to lose it. I ain't gonna disclose none of that, but that's just my thoughts.
We'll do that as we get closer.
Exactly.
Yeah. But do you feel comfortable saying who you think the winner gonna be?
No, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna feel comfortable saying it because I like both guys. And when you got two guys of their caliber, you can't really count either guy out. You know that yourself.
That's
Bud is a champion. That says a lot. And on top of that, Bud is still hungry. You understand me? Canelo did his thing too, but I don't know if he got that hunger still left in it. You understand me? And that's what I think, that's the only thing that bothers me. If he's still hungry, then we in for a good night. If he's not hungry, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I agree, man. I know it's gonna be gonna be a great fight, and it's not a lot of matchups in boxing that you can guarantee a great night. Like you can guarantee it's gonna be a great fight.
Without a question.
And I say that because just following both guys throughout the years, they both got the intangibles, the stuff you can't see unless you know what you're looking at. The stuff, it ain't an X and O thing, it's here, right? Like it's that stubbornness for greatness. Like Canelo, though he's had some mishaps, he's had some draws, he's had some losses, I feel like if you ask Canelo what happened there, he's got a perfectly good reason why that happened.
Exactly, that's everybody in boxing.
Right.
Showbiz, the popular boxing analyst, gave his take on the fight by pointing out that age and proven success give the edge to Canelo Alvarez. He said that while Terence Crawford is a brilliant fighter with rare skills, he is still 3 years older than Canelo, and at the top level, that difference can matter. In his view, Canelo has already secured his place as one of the sport's greatest undisputed champions, and his record shows why many experts favor him. For Showbiz, the smartest pick is Canelo because his experience, strength, and champion mindset always separate him from opponents. Asterisk.
People have for Terence Bud Crawford, but for me, a 38, you guys know my takes, but a 38-year-old welterweight versus Saul Canelo Alvarez, undisputed super middleweight, who is 3 years younger than him. Listen, Terence Bud Crawford is too good for it to not be competitive for as long as it lasts, right? I just think Canelo is gonna knock him out. I think he's gonna stop him. I mean, probably not knock him out cold, but I think he's going to stop him. All right. Now, but what I can say is I saw Terence Crawford his last workout shit, and for all of you guys who said that this photo was photoshopped and said that this wasn't real and all that shit, look at Terence Crawford's physique. Look, certain stuff you can't fake. Yeah, you can probably up the sharpness here, have certain lighting here, but it doesn't give you more muscles. If you're in shape, you're in shape. It doesn't add muscles that aren't there, like real Photoshop type of thing. Yeah, the lighting was good. He just got a pump out, right, a workout on, pause. But still, this is how he looks, right here. Just like you see him in natural light, you see him in black and white. The guy is in dog shape. All right. Another thing I like about this episode. If you guys got to go to Terence Crawford's channel to see his episodes of, you know, him being prepared. I think this is the last one because right now it's fight week. It is fight week, everybody. No turning back now. All right? What, you got the media workout tomorrow? You got the press conference? I think, what was that?
On the Porter Way podcast, several analysts compared Canelo Alvarez's current stage to Floyd Mayweather's Money Mayweather era. They said Canelo is no longer just chasing titles, but has reached a level where his name alone controls the sport. Some critics argue that Canelo is slipping, but the panel asked how that could be true when he keeps beating every fighter put in front of him, no matter their style or record. They called him the greatest Mexican boxer and praised his run as the top undisputed champion of this era. To them, the talk of decline is really just people refusing to give Canelo the respect he has earned, asterisk, asterisk.
At the point where Floyd was at, you know, where I remember covering Floyd for the Maidana fight, and, you know, my question to him live was, did you really pay $1.5 million for Maidana not to wear these horsehair gloves? And it's like, I don't have to tell you. And that's it. I'm Floyd. I told you I don't have to tell you, and he walks away. It's like, boxing is so different.
Look at this is and Floyd's the best fighter of my lifetime. I was a little too young to watch Roy in the early 90s. That would have been a challenge to that claim, but it's I've been saying, like, just as important as his great career has been what he's left behind, and what he's left behind, it isn't good. You know,
Yeah.
look what it's producing.
No,
I think everybody agrees with that.
Effect.
Yeah, the Mayweather effect. So,
But there's a double standard because Canelo's
think-
in his what would you call it? Money Canelo era?
yeah.
And you know, to bring it back to the main subject of Crawford and Canelo, the hype around this fight is Canelo's fading because he's getting decisions while he's basically dropping everyone he fights. So I don't see where you're fading at, but Floyd got praised for getting decisions.
yeah, but
You don't see a fade from Canelo?
that skull fight was rough.
I mean, but that was more. I don't think that was a fade. I don't think that was a fade more than it was a self-entitlement, right? It's like I'm Canelo. I'm not chasing you.
100%.
He didn't win the fight. Like if we're forget CompuBox. Because let me let you, CompuBox is someone just like me with their Great Adventures clicker going just like this. So, you know, I can use my own television and my own eyes.
Adeladipo gave his final take by picking Terence Crawford to win. He noted that Crawford usually starts fights with sharp accuracy, and he expects him to take the early rounds against Canelo. Even more, he highlighted Crawford's skill at closing fights. Known as one of the best finishers in boxing, Crawford doesn't just win, he often does it in dominant style. Oladipo's confidence comes from the belief that once Crawford finds his rhythm, he can take control of the later rounds and walk away with a clear victory, asterisk, asterisk.
Each other and saying some stupid shit. Casual fans are like, oh, 1 second, what's going on? Like, is there something going on over there? And I feel like these two would do that. Plus, you know, it's going to be a decent fight.
It will be a decent fight. Do you know who, it's only you mentioned it there, do you know who, not disappointed in terms of how his career has been going, I think it's going quite well, but that he's not a bigger name as Boot Dennis.
Yeah.
Like that guy has the style, everything, the flair, everything to be a big star, and he's just not. And do you know what I think it is? I'm not having a go at Eddie Hearn or anything. I think it's the matchmaking. I think he's fighting guys, even now, go to the 154, he needs those big fights. He needs those big fights because at the end of the day, David Avanesian, it's like, okay, he's a good fighter, but like, they're going to put butts in seats.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there's only so long you can matchmake him against people that we don't care about.
Yes.
Like even Stanionis, unification fight, Stanionis is good, but okay, you beat Stanionis, it has to be a bigger name.
Yeah.
I mean, Virgil Tees has been screaming for you. Erickson Lubin's there, just as something exciting, another American maybe. Sometimes you need that. Like the American fans won't relate to him fighting non-Americans that we don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even know some of these guys that he's fighting, so that doesn't help. Anyway, look, we could go on and on and on and on, but this is Canelo Terence Crawford special.
It is.
Because we are only, so guys, we are filming this on Monday. So we're only, 5 days away.
They're already
from what-
smiling.
Yeah, from what people
already
call
smiling thinking about
the
this
fight of the
fight.
century.
Nonito Donaire, the multi-division world champion, offered a fair take on the matchup. He noted that Canelo Alvarez has spent years in this weight class and earned his place through many tough battles. Canelo's natural power at this size is clear. And Donaire pointed out that Crawford has not yet proven the same strength in these higher divisions. For Donaire, the real question is how well Crawford will handle the extra weight on fight night. Still, he views the fight as a true 50-50 because Crawford's elite skills let him adjust and surprise even the hardest opponents. Asterisk.
You know, Canelo's been in this weight for a very long time, and he's gained that body, that experience. He has the power. He has the accolades to show it all off too. And of course, with Terence, I believe he's the more skillful fighter, but he's going up a lot of weight classes to get there. He's never fought in 160, so that's a question. Is that weight really gonna affect him or not? The moment he gets hit in the arm or anything like that, is he gonna think otherwise? You know, that's the question. But when it comes down to it, the way they are, Crawford is very skillful. He's very talented. He can box, he can brawl, he can do anything. But then Canelo also has that power to neutralize things. But he's always had problem with people who walks or runs around him or moves around him. So that's the question that I have to give it a 50-50 because I give Canelo the power, the leverage in this weight, but then I give the skills and the talent and the speed to Crawford. And that's why this is going to be a very, very, very interesting and entertaining fight.
An analyst looked back at the early years of Canelo Alvarez's career, noting how different his rise was from most fighters. From the start of his training, coaches saw that Canelo had unusual natural power, far greater than what was normal for someone his age. While most young boxers slowly build strength through years of work, Canelo seemed to have it naturally, which made him stand out as a teenager in the gym. That raw power, the analyst said, never went away. Instead, it became the base of his professional style. Across his career, opponents have often talked about how heavy his punches feel and how he breaks fighters down as fights go on. Even now, after years of title bouts and big nights under the lights, Canelo's power remains one of his most dangerous weapons. The analysts explain that this lasting edge makes Canelo a nightmare at the elite level. For Terence Crawford, who has never faced a fighter with this mix of size, power, and experience, the danger is very real. When the exchanges heat up, many think Canelo's punches can end up being the deciding factor. Asterisk.
Even when Canelo was a young lad, a young Canelito, aka Cinnamon, growing up in Mexico, you hear Eddie Reynoso and Eddie Reynoso's father, who trained Canelo first, talk about how he was a big kid for his age. He was muscled up at 13, 14 when he started boxing in the gyms of Guadalajara. He was knocking out grown men by the age of 15, 16. And I know Terence Crawford was doing the same over in Omaha, Nebraska. My point is, Canelo has always carried some power, carried some strength, carried some devastation in his hands, and that's gone up with him. And I know that people have questioned that because who really carries that kind of power going up? But Canelo's been able to do it, and you know, people like Manny Pacquiao have been able to do it. Usually you go up, and when you go up in weight, your skill carries the bill, and Canelo has skill, and Manny Pacquiao had skill, but there's still that nasty, nasty power in his hands. And one of the things that we have seen is that Canelo, regardless if he's being outboxed maybe early in fights, or regardless if people have landed on him, look at the Caleb Plant fight, look at the Billy Joe Saunders fight, again, not saying they're the same talent level, but he has found the button at many points of those fights. Even if he's quote unquote being outboxed, he has found the button. The one place that maybe didn't work as well, or two places I would say, were obviously Floyd Mayweather, Dimitri Bivol, and the Triple G fight, because Triple G was just made out of iron just like Canelo is, right? But usually that power carries him through. So one of his strengths is when he downloads, when he does dissect, when he does find the opening, he's able to capitalize in a big way. And all that boxing you did rounds 1 to 6, it may have you up on the scorecards, but it leaves you vulnerable from round 7 to 12 because Canelo's hitting arms, and he's hitting shoulders, and he's hitting ribs, and those arms are getting heavy.
Another group of analysts noted that the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford means much more than titles or records. They argue that the outcome could completely change how the sport views both fighters, especially Canelo, whose name has long been linked with dominance and consistency. For years, he has been seen as the face of boxing, nearly untouchable in his divisions and respected for his ability to adjust to any opponent. But these analysts believe that if Crawford steps up and defeats him, the story would change. Instead of being viewed as unstoppable, Canelo's aura of invincibility would break, forcing people to look at his career in a new way. At the same time, the win would lift Crawford into a historic class, marking him as the man who achieved what many thought was impossible. They stress that Crawford has the rare tools to disrupt Canelo's rhythm and tear down the image of superiority he has built. To them, this fight is far more than another big event. It is a turning point. A Crawford victory would reshape both legacies and rewrite modern boxing history, asterisk.
And Usyk changed the way everyone sees Tyson Fury. In the same way, potentially, Terence Crawford could change the way we look at Canelo for the rest of his life. So, Joy, what do you make of that?
I think you're right there. I think it's kind of been proven, hasn't it? You look at Turki Al-Sheikh and the Riyadh Season's efforts to get Gervonta Tank Davis on board at the start, to get him in some big fights, to get him in fights that the fans want to see, and he's not an all-out favourite in, and he's gone the route now of fighting Jake Paul. So you can see the fighters that are willing to put it all on the line and the fighters that potentially might not be. Now, one thing with Canelo that people would say is, although he's been fighting the best at a very high level, he has been picking his fights. I'm not saying he's been picking fights that he's an all-out favourite in. Obviously, he picked to fight Bivol. He picked to fight Kovalev. There's so many of them, but he has been picking his fights. So he's now entering this sort of realm, which obviously with the William Skull fight, he already has, but kind of feel like it was a bit of a gimme. He's now entering this realm in Riyadh Season where even if he's to go and progress and win this fight, there's only going to be tough fights from now to the end of his career. And it's been a long career. He's been pro since he was 15 years old. So I think that when you look at the fight, I do feel like Terence Crawford is a little bit fresher.
Question on the big fight experience here. It's just another stadium fight for Canelo, right? He does this a lot. This is Crawford's biggest fight of his whole career, his first stadium fight. And it's definitely going to be a home crowd advantage for Canelo. That's not even up for debate, in my opinion. Wow. How will Crawford handle that mental pressure when he's been out of the ring, as usual, for a year, and Canelo was in the ring a lot more?
Callum Smith, who has faced Canelo Alvarez in the ring, shared a straight-up view on the upcoming clash with Terence Crawford. He admitted that Canelo is no longer the exact fighter he was in his prime, noting small signs of decline that come with years at the highest level. In contrast, he pointed out that Crawford seems to be at his peak, showing sharp movement, speed, and accuracy that make him a real threat. Smith said this contrast is what makes the fight so fascinating. On one side is Canelo, the battle-tested champion with unmatched experience under the brightest lights, a fighter who always finds ways to win even against tough styles. On the other is Crawford, fresher and faster, with the ability to adjust quickly and punish mistakes with ruthless precision. While Smith leaned slightly toward Canelo, he kept his prediction open. He explained that the result could come down to how both men prepare and perform on fight night. For now, his respect for Canelo's proven record makes him cautiously back the Mexican star, though he admits Crawford could shock everyone.
Become world champion again this year.
Yeah, and I can't not ask you about Canelo Crawford, former opponent of yourself, obviously. What's your take on it this week?
It's a good fight, to be honest with you. They keep swapping and changing. Part of me sometimes thinks Canelo's not the fighter he was. He's still a very good fighter, but I do think he's on the slide a little bit, and maybe Crawford might be a little bit too fast and too slick, but I don't know, when I see them head-to-head, I just think Canelo's naturally that little bit too big, and as good as Crawford is, he's had one fight at 154, and he's now skipping 160 going to 168 against a solid super middleweight. So I don't know, I think that size tells as the fight goes on. I think Crawford will have success early, but I think the natural size will play a part, and I'm going to go with Canelo, but I may change my mind in the next couple of days.
The kind of one thing people are thinking about Crawford, he's been very inactive in the last 2-3 years. You're somebody who's kind of dealt with that quite well. You've been inactive but still pulled out performances. I'm thinking of the Boateng fight, for instance. Just how much will that play a factor, do you think, in the fight?
It depends, because I've had long layoffs, I've come back and I perform well, and I've had other ones where I feel it's massively affecting my performances. I don't know, I think as a fighter, personally, I'm always just confident. If I was up the ring for 3 years and I had to tell if I can, I just believe I get it right on the night, and I think you're always confident in your own abilities, that when it matters, the chips are down, you'll perform no matter what, and it isn't always the case. So I don't know, I think ideally he would have liked to have been a bit more active, although it was his choice to sit and wait. I think when we spoke to him, weirdly enough, when I think it was in where was it?